Hello and welcome to Diary of an Unschooler, the space where we explore the world of deschooling, unschooling, and natural learning. I'm your host, Leah McDermott, and I'm here to guide you through the fascinating journey of alternative education and meaningful learning experiences with your children. Thank you to all of our listeners for joining us once again, or if you're new here, a warm welcome to you. Let's dive into today's topic. Hey friends, it's Leah here. Today, I want to tell you a little story. I want to talk about standardized testing, and we're not going to talk about it in the way that most homeschooling and unschooling experts talk about it. We all know that they are a waste of time and don't tell us anything individual about our children and, create all kinds of problems. That's the pretty baseline conversation. What I want to do today instead is spend a few minutes telling you a story about just a personal experience that I had this week about the way that standardized tests affect our children, and then give you a resource at the end. Hopefully this is valuable, especially if you are someone that finds yourself still with children in a system where those standardized tests are required and you need some support in understanding the impact that those have and maybe some ways to avoid them if possible. So, story time. My middle child is a soccer player. He's 10 years old, and I am the head coach of his soccer team. Now, he plays on a travel soccer team, which those of you unfamiliar with sports or kids sports, it's like the next level of sports, right? So there's the recreational teams, which anybody can get on, and it's just fun. It's like the YMCA does it, it's no real force and pressure and competition. They practice once a week and have a game for a short season. The travel season is for the kids, of course, who take it very seriously. You have to try out to get on the team. You travel within an hour radius, you do tournaments, practice twice a week. The kids are all very committed and disciplined to their practice, especially the older they get, they become very serious about their sport. I mention that because the team that I have, these kids are all just like that, right? Most of our practices that we have, they are focused and disciplined and drilled all on their own, not because I'm some serious, coach dictator, but they really love playing the sport and they really show up and do what they're supposed to do every minute of the practice. It's a wonderful little team. Now, on Wednesday of this week, a couple days ago, they were just off, like the whole team. The energy was off. The vibe was off. They were screaming at each other. They were anxious. They were fighting. One of the parents even mentioned at the beginning of the game or of the practice, so-and-so is not really feeling up to it today. Every little thing is setting them off. Just be aware of that. Like the whole vibe was off. Some of the kids were extremely overly hyper compared to normal. Just not a good situation and not normal for my team at all. And to the point where about halfway through, I had to just stop because I was repeating myself so much and we weren't actually getting anything accomplished. And so I pulled them all down, had them sit down. I said, hey, what's going on here today? There's some weird vibes, weird energies. Everyone's kind of grumpy and hyper, and I was trying to level with them. I said, sometimes we have off days. It's kind of weird that everyone's off today, but I get it. Most of you have been in school all day. Someone's been telling you what to do all day. And as I was kind of giving them that out or that opportunity to explain why they were feeling that way, one of the kids says, oh no, we didn't really have school. We did testing all day. It's testing week or testing time. And it was like this wave rushed over me of awareness and shame that I didn't recognize it. The time of year completely escaped me. I'm normally very aware of that happening this time of year. And it was just a wave of understanding. I get it. That's why all of this is happening. And, again, we can talk about the merits and the frustrations of standardized testing, but I want to just share that little piece because a parent came up to me saying every little thing is setting my child off today. They're screaming, they're anxious, they're frustrated, and they're all between the ages of 9 and 11. So, 4th and 5th grade basically. And just the energy that these children had of just being anxious and on edge and uncomfortable in their bodies All of that for the sake of testing. And the worst part was that they'd already been doing it for several days. And I know it's a little different in every state, but every year there's just more to this. And I know they'll have it all this week. So our game this weekend will probably be affected, and like their attitudes and energies next week will be affected as well. And I just want parents to understand, like, no matter what you tell your kids, and I know that's kind of the language a lot of parents will use, and even some educators will say things like, just do it. It's just a thing you have to do. I don't care about your scores. It doesn't matter. Even though we've started to embody that language and use that language to tell our children, like, I don't judge you for this. Don't judge yourself. I think it's really important that we still understand the implications of this type of forced testing, but also like just this forced proof of learning in general, that what that does to our children. Like, it doesn't matter if you tell them it doesn't matter, but they still have to do it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, when are we going to advocate for our kids enough that we say, enough is enough? Like, it doesn't matter already. And so I'm not going to make you do it. And if enough of us say that, the system has to listen. And I just want to maybe put out a call to action here a little bit too. Like, how can you be a part of this? Whether you have a kid in the system that you can opt out, whether you have already homeschooled or chosen homeschool or chosen something like Bridge Academy where your children don't have to participate, but now you can be an advocate. You can help other children who do have to be a part of that. You can start spreading this awareness and this language, fight against it. You know, I think that we have to be so aware of the damage that this does to our children, even though we tell them it doesn't matter. And then one other piece I want to add to that is, at the end of that discussion, after they mentioned that, I was like, okay, guys, well, you know, I get it. You've got a lot of energy in your bodies. Let's shift. Instead of doing specific drills, then we just kind of did different things with our bodies, right? To help them get some of that anxiety and energy out, which was much better for everyone. But I mentioned to all of them, like, you know, you guys know these scores don't matter. Like, I wanted somebody to tell them just in case they hadn't. But then one of the kids came up to me and he said, I know it doesn't matter for me, but it matters if my school can get money. He said, that's what they're for. They're so my school can get money. So I have to do my best. And in a way, that made me even angrier, because how dare someone put that pressure on a 9-year-old child to perform well on a test, tell them it doesn't matter for them, but it matters for their school funding. To put that burden on the shoulders of a child is despicable. And it is not a better way of handling just the energy around standardized tests. So I want to share that too, because if you're a parent with a public school child and that's messaging that you're hearing, I would absolutely stand up against that, because that is not a child's responsibility to perform well on a standardized test so the school can get money. So that's something else I wanted to point out. So some advocacy templates for you. I have an amazing resource that I put together actually years ago that has had thousands and thousands of downloads, and I want to put this out there again. You can find this in the show notes down below, or if you're watching on YouTube or something, we'll put it in all of the comments, but they're free templates that you can download to opt out your children from these standardized tests. And there's some additional templates in there too to help you advocate for your child if your child is still in a public school situation or even a private school environment. Or for those of you who have friends, maybe you're homeschooling, this doesn't affect you, but you have friends who need these resources. So share them, they're free. All you have to do is download them, open them up, change your child's name, your school's name, your teacher's name, and send them right in. They're already written up. They have the research in them. It will help you. Number one, there's 4 templates in it. It'll help you get a list of the standardized tests that your child is going to be receiving through the year. It will help you opt out of those same tests or the ones that you choose. And also there's 2 letters in there, one that will help you opt out of homework and one that will make sure your children do not lose their recess. Both of those things are also very important. So some wonderful free advocacy templates for you as parents to either utilize for yourself or share these amazing resources. Those are down in the show notes. I'm also going to put down there, of course, Bridge Academy is our private school for homeschoolers and unschoolers, where we make it a priority to remove the requirements for standardized tests for our homeschooling families wherever possible. At a minimum, we lessen the restrictions. So definitely something to consider if you are either considering homeschooling or already are homeschooling and need a little bit more support. Definitely check out Bridge Academy so that you can find that in the show notes as well. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Diary of an Unschooler. I hope today's discussion provided valuable insights for you into the world of unschooling. Remember to subscribe and leave us a review if you found this episode helpful. I record multiple episodes on a variety of topics every week, so make sure to come back soon to dive into more about unschooling and natural learning. A big thank you to our team for making this episode possible. I'm Leah McDermott, reminding you to embrace the journey of learning naturally with your children. Until next time, take care, and remember, all life is learning.